everybody. In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about how I manage my stress and anxiety. I had mentioned before that this situation has kind of created a lot of stress and anxiety for a lot of people. So I feel like I've kind of been training in a way to deal with this. And I kind of feel like Rocky and Rocky 4 where he goes to Russia, and like I've been doing all that all this time, and now I'm like ready for the fight. And it almost feels like maybe the anxiety relapse was brought into my life to prepare me for this moment in time. So I definitely feel like a lot of you guys are now kind of understanding how it feels to live with an anxiety disorder. I also know a lot of you do have anxiety disorders because you all have reached out to me and, kind of shared your stories with me, and I appreciate that. So I just want to talk about some things that help during high times of stress and anxiety, kind of help me personally to kind of bring myself down and relax and able to calm my emotions. So first thing that I think is super, super helpful and super easy to do is an attitude of gratitude. I know with everything that's going on right now, it's really hard sometimes to find the bright spots of the day. So what I do is I have a little notebook, and what I do in this notebook is I journal, and I have a gratitude journal. So basically what I do is for the day, I pick 10 things every day that I'm just very thankful for. So it's really helpful because I think sometimes like a few things happen throughout the day and I let them ruin my whole day. I'm like, oh, the day was horrible. But when I really reflect at the end of the day and find the 10 things that went well, it kind of puts like a new spin on the day. So I usually do this at night. You can go past 10, you can have 20 things, you could do 50 things. But it's really, really helpful to kind of put the day in perspective and make you realize there were these little pluses in the day and you actually learn to appreciate them more, and it sort of changes your mood. So here's some stuff I picked. So I had a great night's sleep. This was from a while back, but here's some 10 things I was thankful for during this day. So a great night's sleep. That's always amazing. I had a good breakfast. Someone actually bought me a breakfast burrito, so that was nice. I finished my supplemental at work. So I basically have this humongous spreadsheet that I have to get out every quarter. It's very stressful. So I finished it and I was able to get that out. My friend Frank bought me lunch. I had a good lunch. A lot of my things involve food. I practiced some breathing techniques, which are very helpful for calming yourself. One of my kids had a pretty good report card. My son has been doing really well driving, so this was a while back because he's driving more now. I did my nails. I loved my nails after I did my nails. My work day was very productive and very fast. So those are 10 things I was thankful for on this particular day. And then I kind of write down just some random thoughts about the day. You don't have to do that. I think just the gratitude itself is very, very helpful. So that is number one, attitude of gratitude. Number two, I do a lot of meditation apps. So I have an app called Insight Timer. It's available through the Apple App Store. I'm sure you can get it on Android as well. And basically there's apps there. There's meditations there for all sorts of different things. The meditations I try to focus on are for mindfulness. So a lot of mental issues are either living in the past or the future. For me, when my anxiety hits, I'm living in the future. I'm thinking about future events. I'm trying to plan for future events. I'm worried about future events. And I'm not in the actual present moment. So mindfulness really helps with that. Mindfulness tries to help you be more focused and grounded in the moment you're in right now. Basically, the past is the past. It's gone. There's nothing you can do to change it. You can only try and accept it and move forward. And the future has not happened yet. So why are you going to let the future ruin what you could be? Why are you going to let the future ruin the present moment? The future is probably going to be fine, but you're in it and you're stressed about it. And so if you're able to like pick something to ground you into the moment right now, it's very, very helpful. So there's a lot of guided meditations that help you with mindfulness. on the Insight Timer app. There's also some really good stuff on YouTube. It's a lot of trial and error. Some people's voices don't relax me as much, but I found several that I do like, and it's very, very helpful. Number 3 is breathing techniques. I'm not the best at them. I do practice them, and I do find them to be helpful. When I'm really, really anxious, usually what I'm doing is I'm not getting enough breath. A lot of us hardly use any of our lung capacity, and we breathe a lot of chest breath where you're like that. And really what you want to do is belly breathe. You want to breathe from your diaphragm. So I do a lot of exercises that help me do that. One thing that I have noticed though is when I am very, very anxious, trying to control my breath and like count breaths and things like that does not help me. Because I feel I have a lot of control issues, you guys. I'm a control freak, and I feel like I'm doing it wrong, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. And so in anxious moments, trying to control the breath is not something that works well for me. What I do is I actually focus on the breaths that I'm already taking, even if they're shallow and they're like a little bit hyperventilating. I focus on a point of the breath. So you can either focus on the breath like coming into your nose and out through your nose, like the sensation of that. You can focus on different parts of the breath. I like to focus on the breath like on the diaphragm. So your diaphragm is like right around your rib cage. I like to focus on that part of my stomach rising and falling while I breathe. Not trying to control it, not trying to hold it for a certain amount or count it or anything. Just the actual rise and fall of it. My mind tends to wander. I feel like when I'm in anxiety mode, I do what is called ruminating, something like that. My mind just goes. It's basically like a circular thoughts of a lot of negative things. I'm like, what if this? Then what if that? Then what if this? Then what if that? And I go through this whole chain of negativity. So when you kind of try and put your focus on something physical instead of that, it does help slow the brain down. So that's what I try to do, is I try to focus on a point in my body where I can feel the breath, but I don't try to control the breath. A lot of the meditations will talk about that. It's a work in progress for me. It's a harder one for me. It really is. It's harder to master. It's better to practice when you're not in an anxious state, because when you go to the anxious state, you're more likely to do it correctly. When I'm in an anxious state, I literally sometimes feel like I'm fighting for my life. So the last thing that I want to do is like slow down, and your mind's just going and you're hyperventilating and you feel like you can't breathe. It's hard to bring in tools at that time. So if you practice some more when you're not in that state, it's easier to like bring the tool in and use it. So another really, really good thing is exercise. Exercise has been scientifically shown to be more effective at dealing with depression and anxiety than antidepressants. I do fight exercise for some reason. It always makes me feel better. It's one of those things like you fight it and you fight it, and then after you do it, you're like, why did I fight that so hard? The exercise does have to be somewhat vigorous. My therapist recommends at least 30 minutes and circulating the blood throughout the body multiple times. So what I usually do is walking. I used to be a really big gym person. I would work out at the gym 5 days a week, doing Zumba, weightlifting, different types of classes, plyometrics, all kinds of that stuff. When my recent anxiety setback hit last year, I had a couple of panic attacks at the gym, and it just kind of like I withdrew from the gym. But I walk now, and I really, really enjoy it. I walk anywhere from 2.5 miles to 3 to 4 miles a day. I actually have a pedometer, and I track my steps. I aim to get between 10,000 and 15,000 steps a day. The walking that I do, so usually what I do is I'll take one mini walk at work. That's a mile. I get out of my office, I get the sun, which is another great stress reliever, vitamin D from the sun. But I walk, briskly around my building, till I get to about 3,500 steps. So a little more than a mile. It usually takes me about 15 minutes-ish, depending. So that's my first little burst of the day. Then when I get home from work, When the weather's nice, I prefer to walk outside. I go till I get to about my 10,000 to 15,000 steps, depending how I'm feeling. So about 2.5 miles, sometimes 3. Last summer I was doing 3 to 4 miles, and that was really, really helping me. I noticed I slept a lot better when it was time to go to bed. I was actually tired and ready for bed instead of my mind going and keeping me up. Meditation is great right before bed as well. It will put you in this really deep trance state that helps you sleep. So exercise, you guys. If you are having an anxiety situation, exercise burns off a lot of that extra adrenaline. All anxiety is an inappropriate adrenaline dump. Basically, you get the dump of adrenaline like you're fighting a bear, you're running from a tiger, you're trying to escape a fire, situations like that, but really you're not. For me anyway. I'll be sitting at work and I'm just like, oh goodness, my chest is tight. I can feel myself wanting to hyperventilate. Sometimes I'll get the shakes. Like my whole body will go into just like a little bit of like a shiver. Sometimes I get numb hands and feet. Sometimes I'll get really hot or really cold. Sometimes I get weird vision things, not visions, I'm not seeing things, but my eyes will get a little bit out of focus. Sometimes I get dizzy, just kind of depends. I get a lot of different things. Sometimes I feel like there's something in my throat and I can't swallow correctly, which really, that's the one that kind of really freaks me out the most, and the numb hands. But if you exercise, you burn off a lot of that adrenaline. So that's another big one. Then the biggest thing is really just self-care. My therapist is always stressing self-care to me. I'm one of those people who goes and goes and goes. I'm very goal-oriented. I feel like when I was younger, we never learned to rest. We were always on the go. My parents were always on the go. We weren't allowed to like nap. Or sleep late. It was like you're sleeping your life away. Napping is sleeping your life away. My mom is very like on the go, clean freak, get stuff done, and I have a lot of those qualities of her. And so slowing down and doing self-care is really hard for me. But some examples of self-care that work for me: number one, doing my nails. Anytime I come in to do my nails, I just feel like it's very therapeutic. Nail polish is a form of therapy for me, you guys. Looking at my bottles, touching the bottles, picking out colors. The actual act of sitting down to paint the nails, I feel like you have to be very slow. It slows your breathing down. You can't be trying to do your nails in a rush because they're just messy. It slows me down. So nails, number one. Number two, I love to crochet. That is like my second favorite hobby. I have been crocheting since I was 5 years old. And it's just another thing that really I enjoy. It slows me down. I enjoy creating. I love being creative. So those are two big things of self-care for me. Other self-care, resting. If you're tired, rest. If you need a nap, take a nap. Reading is another one that really slows me down. I enjoy reading. I've been enjoying podcasts lately. I like to watch my nail polish videos. I'm not a bath person, but I know a lot of people love a bath. A nice warm bath with some essential oils or some like Epsom salt is another good thing. Sometimes just laying down and listening to music is something that's helpful for me. A nice hot shower, doing a pedicure, petting your dog, coloring books. There's so many things you can do as a form of self-care. To me, sometimes just laying out in the sun, oh, that does it for me. I'm like a lizard. Like I could just be in the sun, just like, oh my gosh, soaking it up. All of that is really, really nice self-care. Playing with your kids, board games, anything like that, watching your favorite TV show. A lot of things I like to do is like watch old movies. I prefer like my 80s, 90s movies. They take me back nostalgically, and I feel like nostalgia and that feeling of like comfort that some of those older things can give you makes you feel safe. Reminds you of your childhood when you were more than likely, hopefully, in a safe spot. So I like to do those types of things. Self-care is huge, you guys. And then lastly, sometimes you just have to give yourself permission to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. I have a hard time with that. I have a hard time allowing myself to have emotions. I feel like I have to be happy all the time, or at least like peaceful all the time, content all the time. That is such a hard thing. It's a lot of pressure on me personally. I think it's tied to my anxiety. I have a lot of perfectionism issues as well. And a lot of times, like, you'll do all these things and you still don't feel good, and that's fine. You have to be okay with not feeling okay sometimes. That's one thing my therapist stresses quite a bit is giving yourself permission. If you're frustrated and you want to cry, be frustrated and cry. It's fine. Allow yourself to have that emotion and process those feelings. A lot of times I try and avoid that, and it's always detrimental to me. If you're tired, that's fine. If you're sad, that's fine. If you're anxious, that's fine. There are days when I am literally, I feel like I'm crawling out of my old skin all day long, and it's okay. Like, nobody's died. I'm fine. It's not physically hurting me. And you just have to be okay with not being okay sometimes, and give yourself permission and allow yourself to be human and have the spectrum of human emotions. So if you're like me and you have a lot of perfectionist issues, I know you'll have a problem with that, like I do. But sometimes just being like, you know what, it's all right. I surrender. I'm fine. And you still go about your day. I still go about my day. I still get up. I still get dressed. I still do what I have to do. I just do it uncomfortably, and it's okay. And I feel like the sooner you get okay with it, the less wound up you are about it, if that makes any sense. So, and then another thing, don't judge your feelings. I do a lot of judgment of my feelings and a lot of judgment of my emotions. Like, oh, I feel mad today. What does that mean? I feel anxious today. What does that mean? Why? What happened? Stopping the analyzing helps so much. Just go with it. Go with the flow. I am not a go with the flow person. It's really hard for me. If you guys have anxiety, you probably are similar. But that's another big thing. If you want to vent about how you've been feeling, I understand. I hate that I'm still going to work. I have finally changed my attitude about it to it is what it is, go with the flow. Hating it and being upset about it was actually like adding to the anxiety of it. I miss going to the store, you guys. I miss it so much. I love going to the store and just browsing. I am a big shopper. I bought all kinds of fun stuff for spring and summer, and I'm actually annoyed that I'm not gonna be able to go anywhere wearing my fun clothes. I know that sounds super trivial, but that's how I feel right now, and I'm just like annoyed. Like, I want to wear my cute sandals. I bought overalls, you guys. I was willing to bring the 90s back, and I have nowhere to wear my overalls. I'll be wearing them around the house. If you want to just talk about that kind of stuff, I completely understand. I know a lot of you guys are in a way worse spot situation than I am. I know a lot of people are getting laid off. I know a lot of people's families are sick and being affected by the COVID-19. And I know that there's a lot going on, and it's easy to get caught up in the fact that there's a lot going on and feel bad about trying to feel good, if that makes sense. But you have to hang on to the little bits of good that there are, or you will get washed away in the waves. I was at that point a couple of weeks ago getting washed away in the waves, trying to keep my head above water. And now that I'm getting really back into my anxiety tools and really focusing on them more, it's helping. The gratitude journal, you guys, I'm telling you, even if you don't have an anxiety disorder, even if you're not anxious right now, this will change your life. Being thankful for the littlest of blessings will change your life. Another thing I forgot to mention, I listen to a lot of sermons. Elevation Church is my big one right now. I really love Pastor Stephen and how he shares the word. I have been leaning on God's word a lot right now. God's truths, God's promises to me. The truths and promises of God never change. Whether we're living in our highest high or we're in our lowest low, God has got our backs. That has really helped me a lot. I'm actually going through readings of the New Testament. I'm trying to read the New Testament in 90 days. I'm a little bit behind right now. I know religion is a big part of life for a lot of you guys. Religion, God, your relationship with God. And I know it's hard right now going into like Holy Week and Easter to not be able to go to church and not have those things that, we grew up with and we, help us. My family has this huge Easter barbecue, and we're not going to get to have it, and I'm devastated. My dad makes the most amazing ribs and garlic toast and barbecue chicken. My sister's mother-in-law brings the most wonderful mac and cheese. My dad makes the most amazing desserts. We all hang out. It's a big family thing. I'm not gonna get to see my little niece hunt Easter eggs this year. I'm gonna tear up. Not having that this year is gonna be really hard. I haven't seen my parents since March 13th. I haven't seen my sister since longer than that. My dad actually brought some stuff by my house last night, and I got to see him and my grandma from the car. And that's been really hard. So finding the little blessings in everyday life are really helping me right now. This time will pass, and hopefully we'll all appreciate the small stuff so much more. Seeing our families, hugging our families, going to Walmart and just aimlessly looking at stuff. I never thought I would miss grocery shopping. I freaking miss grocery shopping. Hopefully when all this is done, like, we'll emerge from this just more thankful and more grateful for all of the things that we have. I didn't think this video would take this kind of a weepy turn. I'm sorry, you guys. You guys have been in my prayers since all this has been going on. Thank you to everyone again who has been checking in with me, chatting with me. I appreciate you all so much. If you guys want to do that and, you know, chit chat, you're having a hard time, you're struggling, you want to reach out, send me a message on Instagram, you guys. I know how you feel. This will pass, you guys. We'll be able to be with our families again. We'll be able to be out with our kids. We'll be able to watch our kids play their sports. Our kids will be back in school. And hopefully we'll have a greater appreciation of all of the things that we've taken for granted up until this point. So, hang in there, everybody. You guys are my prayers. Do your nails. You will feel so much better. Go for a walk. You guys will feel so much better. I promise. Those are two things that have really been helping me. Get out some of your hobby stuff. Take a bath. Read a book. Play with your kids. We have an opportunity right now to make some amazing memories with our families because we have time. When I was younger, I remember this time where we got like feet and feet of snow. And for some reason we lost heat. And I remember my grandparents still had heat. So my parents sent us to my grandparents' house. My grandma had a fold-out couch in her living room. And we watched wrestling. And we watched movies. And we watched the Muppets. And my grandma made us all of like some of our favorite foods. And I was a kid. I don't remember how much it must have sucked to not have heat. I remember being with my grandparents making all of these wonderful memories. I remember watching, you know, like I said, wrestling. My grandparents loved wrestling. We loved Hulk Hogan and Macho Man Randy Savage. I remember watching wrestling with them. I remember watching the Muppets Take Manhattan with them. I remember laying on that fold-out bed with my sister, not having a care in the world. My kids are a little older, so they know more what's going on. But those of you guys with younger kids, like, this is an opportunity to make some amazing memories with your kids. Me and my kids have been going back and watching 80s movies that I loved. And they're really enjoying them, and it's really fun sharing like a part of my childhood nostalgia with them. We've still been taking my youngest out to the baseball field so that he can practice. My oldest son actually said the other day that he was glad he came home from school. He's like, I would be going crazy without you guys right now. And that made me feel really good because he fought us to come home. So I'm a big crybaby right now, but that's okay. But everybody stay safe. I appreciate you. Message me if you need to. Follow some of my pointers and tips if you guys feel like you need to. If you have any questions on anything I talked about, let me know. Send me a message. And that's it. Stay safe, you guys. I appreciate you guys. I've been praying for you guys. Wash your hands for a full 20 seconds. Keep 6 feet away from each other. Stay home if you guys can, and everybody stay safe. I hope that you guys all are doing okay and your families are doing okay, and we're in this together and we're gonna get through it. If you like this video, please make sure to click the like button down below. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do. Thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.